We now have Ron Goldman on the phone. He's an aviation attorney and a pilot as well. Mr. Goldman, looks like a pretty picture-perfect landing under terrible duress.
Well, you'd have to give a lot of credit to the captain who handled this emergency with distinction, as well as the flight crew who performed the emergency procedures with outstanding calm, and the evacuation went as perfectly as you could hope.
We're looking at actually the weather conditions here, and it was snowing earlier before the flight. Then that cleared up, and I have to tell you, it is freezing here. And at the time of the crash, it was about 19 degrees with the wind chill. It feels like 8 degrees Fahrenheit. We've already heard that some passengers who have been rushed to St. Vincent's Hospital are showing the initial stages of hypothermia, but another sort of shot at and missed type of situation where people were able to be pulled out of the water in the plane so quickly that we didn't have anybody die from hypothermia.
Well, it's extremely fortunate because in that kind of cold water, people could last only a matter of a very few minutes before they would suffer very serious reactions, if not death.
Ron, you have mentioned that, of course, these engines are built to withstand bird strikes. It's not uncommon. The question is why this failed, but apparently the bird concentration, the flock that this plane hit, was so big that it appeared on radar. That is what we were hearing from some sources. Of course, you know, first hours after an incident like this, things change, memories change, and so forth. But if the flock was that big that it showed up on a radar, would that explain why, in fact, this engine didn't withstand it?
Well, it certainly, as you noted, these engines, all modern jet commercial engines, are tested to be able to withstand bird strikes. The question is, why not this one? And of course, if the size of the birds and the quantity of the birds is extraordinary, then that could explain what happened. But the inspection will look at those engines and will be able to tell from the remains of any birds that are in there exactly what went wrong there. So that inspection will take place, but the inspection won't, and the investigation by the NTSB won't stop there. They will go through this entire airplane and its history and make sure that they are quite confident what the cause was.
And looking at the plane in the aftermath, they are able to tow it to an area where they can inspect it. What are the number one things they'll be looking for here?
Well, the first thing they'll look at is the engine. They'll take off those engines and they will tear them down and they will inspect them both grossly and with instruments, if not microscopically, and make sure that they understand exactly what went on to cause those engines to quit. Remember, this airplane should be able to fly on one engine. It's not that uncommon for a bird strike to hit an engine, but the other engine can fly the airplane. In this case, they're suggesting that the bird strike hit both engines at the same time and took out both engines, a somewhat more unusual circumstance.
Our thanks to Ron Goldman, aviation disaster attorney and former pilot.